Beautiful souls. Hello, welcome or welcome back. No coincidence, I'm in front of you right now. It's all perfect. It always is, always has been, and always will be. Even in the times where it doesn't feel like it's perfect, okay? You coded yourself and you contracted yourself for a lot of lessons. And for most of us, a lot of our lessons have been taking place most of our lives, probably since birth. Maybe not everybody, but a majority, especially if you're landing here because you got curious and clicked play, or in the flip terms, I landed in front of you per your sacred algorithm. There is no coincidence. I took yesterday off. Today is April 5th, 2026. It is the day people celebrate Easter, resurrection, all of that stuff, but I think they don't really understand that. I just did a video on that, and at the end of that video, Source, she brought through some codes, so if you're curious, go check that out. Unless you've already gotten curious and done your own deep dive, but it's always fun to listen to it from other perspectives, okay? And this is not religious at all right? And so what I wanted to talk about on this video, what she wants me to talk about, is maybe go into a little bit of my I had an Akashic records reading the other day. I have been going through, and if you know, you've probably been going through the last, for me, for sure, the last 2 years to 18 months is significant for me, but also may be significant for you with this last awakening process. So during this, it's, you know, slowly started to unfold, and then the anniversary of March and April, end of February, March, and April is kind of like my anniversary of this initial awakening process. I do know I'm going through more awakenings, going through another awakening, but it's a little more calm. There's a deeper understanding of what's going on. I've definitely been receiving upgrades, like they're turning up that, amplifying that knob again, like I used the Back to the Future movie where at the first scene he takes that and turns the amp. So I'm definitely getting amped up again, receiving higher frequencies and energies, and also have been going through, it's like this constant, during the healing process there's a lot of death and rebirths, not just one, but also many integrations and activations and downloads and recalibrations and clearing. And so there's been this cycle of going through these processes. Does this resonate? Okay, so I've shared this many times that I am led and guided. I embody a lot more my higher self than ever before. So I'm definitely led and guided by my team, by Spirit, by Source herself. When I'm guided to move, I move. When I'm guided to stay still, I'm still. If I'm guided to click record, I click record. And whatever is meant to come through in my action, in my stillness, or here, is perfect. Because there are codes, there's activations, there's frequencies and energies, flavor, colors, and essences that you're meant to receive through the human words or just through the frequency and the energy, using this sacred technology, this portal, right? These phones or computers. 3, 2, 2 on the timer. So we keep it real, we keep it raw, we keep it messy, we keep it authentic, all right, magical, all of the stuff. We always have the elementals here. I have so many elementals. I work very deeply with Gaia and all of the earth creatures, earth magic, the earth spirits, the elemental spirits, the nature spirits. All right. So there's always here, I've got the ocean sounds going, I've got all of the plants. I'm in a little bit of a different position. If you see my videos before, I rearranged my room in my very tiny space for the first time in 10 years just to shift the energy, and now my videos are again just shifting the energy, just feeling it out. So you don't get to see the big display of the plants like you used to, but now I can look out my window from where my couch is positioned. So I've got the flowers here, I've got flowers. This beauty, I went to the store yesterday after I bought flowers. Someone had lost their bud and it was just laying in the rain. So I picked her up and brought her home, and she's now in her forever home. But I mean, just look at the beauty of the flowers in the buds and get present on each aspect of that. And just look at the beauty, the points, the lighting, all of it. All right, so we got her home and got her in some water. And now she's hanging out with some of the other flowers today, sharing her beauty and her magic in my space. All right, my sacred cave. So 444, thanks for hanging out. we are going to talk a little bit about my Akashics. I'm not going to go into great detail. I'm going to be guided with some things that came up as confirmations, and they may be in resonance with you because what I'm guided to share is by no coincidence. It might just be confirmations or codes, so pay attention to the words because those are activating. Maybe the experience, there's going to be resonance, just to let you know. And for me, I've attempted my Akashic records, but again, I think it works differently for everybody. And so I saw somebody. And how this unfolded is always perfect. I was running my errands on Friday, and I was going through major upgrades. So I had a lot of neck tension, which is throat chakra upgrades, third eye upgrades, and crown chakra, and all of my upper chakras are getting upgraded. So I had a lot of tension, neck, and pressure in my upper chakras. By the time I got home, I did ask the team, I called my team members in, my medical team, to help, you know, Raphael, any ancestors, anything that could help me release that. And within a couple hours, once I had time to pause, they were able to clear that pressure up a bit. And I was able to integrate a little bit more. But what happened was I went down to the wellness store, as I do when I'm called to. I went in, I thought I was going in for essential oils or something else. I just go where I'm called to go. I've shared that in many videos, and if you are curious about that, please ask that question, because I started doing that long ago, months and months and months and months ago, and it makes life so much fun and easier, and just, yeah, it takes all the hassle out of it. And so I went down, and it was Friday, so we had I'm just going to recap, we had the super full pink moon on the 1st, all right, which was Wednesday. So then Thursday, you received all the codes and activations and upgrades that you were meant to receive, that you were ready for, depending on where you're at in your journey and in your timeline. And then Thursday and then Friday, I was guided to go out, which was the 3rd, because today's the 5th. All right. And we're smack dab right into this energy portal from the moon, and then the 4/4 portal, okay, which is foundation. And I'm going to talk about the foundational aspect in my Akashic reading towards the end. Because I record it, and then I didn't translate it or transcribe it the day of. I literally integrated. I was integrating all of these upgrades and that session, because that session was also, I was receiving more activations and codes that I was meant to receive. So one of the employees said, yeah, hey, so-and-so has an opening. He does the Akashic records. And I'm like, I've always been kind of leery about Akashic records for a lot of reasons I'm not going to go into. And I just was pause, and like I said, I'm very guided through my clairsentient and clairknowing. I'm just getting really pulled to, I'm like, well, tell me more about it, help me understand it, you know, have you had a reading before, have you had your Akashics read, and all of that. And so the more she talked about her experience, the more like my body just starts going like a light bulb going, like, you know, let's say if you were to, like, what just came in is like if you're like a light bulb dimming, and then you like give me confirmation, spirit, and the light bulb goes and lights right up. That's how I felt in my physical body. I'm like, well, that's a hell yes. So I said, what does he have? She said, like, well, he has an opening like in 10 minutes. I'm like, well, book it. And that's how it rolls for me. I don't think about like necessarily what that's going to cost. I mean, I ask the cost and stuff, but I don't worry about any of that anymore, because money is just energy, and I keep it flowing as much as possible, and I don't really worry about lack, because I know it's all coming back. I don't worry about lack, because it's all coming back. We want to keep our energy, which is currency in flow, our money in flow, and it's an energy exchange. So when he stepped out of the room, he said he had to go do something. Oh, that's cool. I gotta kind of get my water and stuff. And again, I'm already having the upper chakra upgrading taking place, because I've got all this pressure and all of that, which is normal. And if you understand that, you can ride the wave a little easier. You can ride your unicorn floaty a little easier when you're having all of these more discomfort in the body, whether you're detoxing or pressure or tension. It's in you know that's what it's associated with. Call your team in. They're here to help you. Ask your medical team to come in and help you and relieve some of that. That's what they're there for. Don't beg, command it, ask it. Say, get over here, I need some help. What tools you got? Okay? So, and I did a 30-minute session, and an hour session probably would have been like head explode, because the 30 minutes made my head explode. because I've never had any of this information. There was a correlation to an Egyptian lifetime, which was in resonance to a past life that came up during a past life regression in the fall. 1010 on the timer. Very significant. All right, so I'm going to kind of see, because there was a lot here, for 30 minutes. All right, so bear with me, because I'm going to go with my notes. So I'm not going to go into the specifics of the lifetimes, because they blew my mind, my human mind. My soul already knows. That's why I was there. Because it was time for me to know this stuff without knowing the positions I held in specific past lives. I was ready to know now, because I'm healed to the point where my ego's not going to go out of control with it. Yeah. All right. So, again, referring to Source, God, as the feminine, Sophia. Okay? All right. Why? Because that's how she is presented, and she unfortunately has been removed and distorted in many ways. Okay? So what came through after the opening prayer, the first things that came through, again, this is what the teams are bringing through, because this is where they start with to bring through. Okay? So I've had many lifetimes. All right, many lifetimes the team showed him. All right, but what came through is that this lifetime was the first human lifetime that I have had in centuries, basically since biblical times. Okay, all right. That doesn't mean I didn't have lifetimes in other places, but the last significant human life was centuries and centuries ago. Okay, but also that they showed him that my trajectory had changed rapidly. So my team was showing him that basically the way I could picture it was a bouncing ball, just kind of bouncing along, is the way he said. 12:21 on the timer. So the team says I was doing well, and I was bouncing along, and there was times where I'd bounce a little higher and then just bounce along. But then something changed about 18 months to 2 years ago. Have you heard that number before? All right. Then if you add 1 + 8 + 2, what do you get? You get 11. I'm the life path in 11. So that doesn't surprise me that those numbers correlate. And what they were showing him is like I was bouncing along, and then all of a sudden I bounced one more time and I skyrocketed. I took off like a rocket during this last awakening. And he actually noted Artemis, and I had to go deep dive on Artemis, and what Artemis is, a divine feminine goddess, which is associated with the hunter, and I think of the Greek Roman times, like I think Artemis and Diana are the same huntress goddess, but I have to go, I went down that deep dive, but I didn't write all that down here. Okay, but literally he described Artemis, and I said, well, what's Artemis? Because I don't know what's going on outside of the cave most of the time. And Artemis 2 was launched on the 1st. So there's no coincidence that there was a rocket launch, a moon mission on the 1st, which was a super full pink moon. There's no coincidence the way shit happens here. All right. At 6:35 p.m. EDT, it was a 10-day trip. I noted this because I wanted to put this. This is something I looked up after while I was transcribing my my session. And so that's significant as well. All right. So I thought that was fascinating that they did, that they showed him Artemis. So there's a connection to why he verbally said Artemis 2. All right, so there must have been a first one. All right, 14:14 on the timer. All right. So again, there's significance to the connections of the moon launch, and like I said, I noted, this is my notion after my session, 2 days after my session, or one day, whenever I transcribe this. There's a connection between the launching of this rocket, the 1st of the month, the 4/4 portal, and then today. Okay, there's no coincidences. Okay, there's a lot of symbology. All right, around this. All right, there's a portal window that this rocket was launched, connected to the moon, and I think he said in the session something about the dark side of the moon. That was significant. All right, so the launch, the symbology was initiation, and then the number 4 around this building of foundations of future lunar missions. So I don't know what that meant when that came through when I was dictating it, all right? The other thing that he said after that was that I'm not from here. And I already knew that. I'm not an Earth Terran. I already know I'm not an Earth Terran. I know that. I don't know where, what, or anything. I haven't been given that information yet. I am not from here. My team let him know that I was an intergalactic being. Interdimensional, intergalactic. And so I looked at, like, I had to kind of, what's an intergalactic being? Is that like the Arcturians, the Lyrans, the Syrians, the Pleiadians, etc., Andromedans? More than likely, yes. Some way, shape, or form. He also said in the hierarchy, all right, in the hierarchy of things, in the cosmos, that I was fairly high up. I am fairly highly ranked up the food chain. And I've been getting a lot of messages, and again, it's that cosmic galactic royalty. It's just confirmation on that. That in the light of things, yes, my highest, you go up my monad system, or you go up my different levels that my soul is originated from, the monad, is the confirmation that it is a higher arc, that is fairly highly up the food chains, were his words, like that hierarchy. But again, I'm human. This is why I'm here, to have this experience. I'm not here to, yeah. All right. But if you've been getting confirmation in all ways, shapes, and forms, I've been getting this for months. It's like, I already know I'm cosmic royalty. I don't know, again, the what, the why, the who, the where, the when, all of that. I don't need to know, because that's not necessarily for what I'm here for right now. Okay? All right. And the reason why I chose to come down here, what came through, was that I know how to live this way. To live this way, this human way. Okay? All right. And I wanted, so I know how to live this way is what came through. And I want to go be a human again during this time, during this great awakening. Because my last human incarnation, what came through was many, many centuries ago, like biblical times, like the pharaohs, Moses, that type of timeline. All right. Everyone on my team, in my soul family, tried to talk me out of it. And he was laughing, like they were laughing, all right? And they, you know, saying like, oh, good Lord, why would you want to go do that? All right, it's very dense, it's very hard, all right, etc., etc. And basically, he was saying, he said that my soul was not having any of that, all right? The naysayers did not get any traction with me, like that, even though they were saying, you know, so the naysayers didn't get any traction with me, to convince me not to come do this again. All right. Because I knew, my soul knows that my soul knew that for my soul's progression and growth, I needed to do this. I needed to do this round, this incarnation. All right. So the reader, the Akashic reader, said that they made him feel, like I said, they made him feel like this is the first time in a long time that I have been a human. I've said that already. All right. And that I will be a human again, but a moderately long time from this incarnation. All right. More than likely. Okay. Before my next incarnation. Okay. Because I am getting what I need during this incarnation and doing what I needed to do here. Not only for my own soul's growth and progression, but in the terms of the way I am interacting with humans and animals and earth, interacting with all things. Excuse me. All right. All of these things for me is what he was getting. All of these things for me are equal. Everything is equal. All right. I see in everything that inner dwelling. I see that inner dwelling, that inner spark of the divine. All right. The divine spark in everything. I see that. I know that. I feel that. All right. I hear it. I do. It does not matter if it's a possum or a beautiful horse or a human or a tree. I know where it came from and I feel it. This is him speaking to me. Okay. The energy, I feel the energy of the divine in every single thing. And when I have communion with the trees, it's really like you're having tea with her, with Source, with God. And she laughs. This is what he says. She laughs and said, we have done this. We have done tea many times in person too. And I've had this come through many channels in many ways, shapes, and forms, which have caught my attention, that I have a sort of certain kind of relationship with Source herself. Does that make me any better? No, not at all, because everyone can have that relationship with her, okay? But that's what came through from Source herself, okay? So the creator, again, that is coming through with the channel is for him feminine, female. And Sophia, that Sophia energy, okay? That cosmic feminine energy, okay? Why? Because that makes assholes' heads explode, which we're all okay with, okay? But, all right, certain experiences is that he knows and we know that she's very kind, loving, forgiving, and uplifting and nurturing. A very nurturing, superior being, all right? Prime creator. All right, so I've already mentioned that it's been centuries since my last lifetime as a human. Again, the last couple I asked about was, what were the last two? And it had to do with the Roman Empire and the Egyptian culture, and again, in those lifetimes, stated that I was of nobility of some way, shape, or form. I was not a servant. I was not a peasant. I was not a slave or any of that, okay? In past lifetimes. And I already had like this intuitive knowing of this, like you just feel it, and it's not like an egotistical thing, it's just a soul knowing. And then you hear confirmations in all the ways, and you see the confirmations, you just know. But again, just being humble about it, and even in those positions, I could see the beauty and the essence in the divine 2211 in everything and everyone, okay? So it wasn't like I was looking down, okay, on anybody, all right? I had a different take of it all, is what came out. Also, the Ramses the Third came in. Like he said, I was right up there with Ramses the Third. I haven't looked into Ramses the Third. I mean, I'm kind of aware, but like, yeah, Pharaoh's daughters, Ramses and all of that. I have to look into that. So again, threes are significant. But again, Ramses the Third might be significant too for whoever's listening to this. All right. Let's see here. So there's another little bit here I'm not going to share about time in Egypt, but there was a lifetime in Egypt that was very significant, very catalyst to the human race. Let's put it that way. And I was part of that, which blew my top off on that. Again, keeping me very humble. All right, and then another lifetime in Egypt, this connected to that, again, I was not of the laborers or the servants, but I was present while the pyramids were being built, which was confirmed because I did have an incarnation that I do remember seeing the pyramids being built, and being built with magic, with levitation, through sound and frequency. So how did they move the rocks into place? One, they precision cut them with technology, laser technology, but they moved the blocks into place through sound and frequency, which was like magic, which is a form of levitation, okay? So I do physically remember being a being that was much larger than the human race, but again, not like in the sense of a dictating, domineering. I was present during the building of the pyramids, so that connected right there, okay? Which confirmed, like I said, that past life regression that I had in the fall. All right. So I got to witness the magic of the building of the humans, the building of, that was no coincidence, the magic in the building of the humans, the magic in the building of the pyramids, okay? The construction of it, because we know humans didn't do that. That's not possible. They might have participated in that, but they had the use and the help and the assistance with this technology of lasers, of sound and frequency levitation and things like that, which might look like magic, okay? which is, we have that technology now. It's just been deeply hidden. Okay. All right. Okay, so I was there. All right. All right. So in both of those lifetimes and this one, and more than likely than other ones, I have been more than likely, let's see. I have been, I'm trying to read my own handwriting. A powerful, thank you. I have been an incredibly powerful catalyst for good change. I know in my soul that I'm a catalyst. I'm an activator and I'm a catalyst. Even if my human doesn't quite understand all of that. And to have that confirmation that yes, not only in this lifetime I'm a catalyst, that's why I've been attacked since birth. I've been on a watch list because I'm a catalyst, a powerful catalyst for good change for humanity, okay? I have no tolerance for bullshit, is what he said, at all, ever. And that's the truth. At this point, I have no tolerance for bullshit, ever. I give zero fucks. I have zero tolerance, okay? And I am not afraid anymore to call the bullshit out, because I will call it out. Okay? Human fucking walking lie detector test. Okay? There was a time, until this awakening, and I did the healing, there was a time where I would just let it go. I would sweep it under the rug because of whatever reasons of old programming, conditionings, and hurt and pain, trauma, all of that, okay? There was a time. Not anymore. I call it out now, and I'm not afraid to do that, all right? And now I stand knowing that bullshit is just bullshit, right? And if you're going to peddle bullshit, you can peddle that bullshit somewhere else, all right? So there was a time where I would let things go, sweep it under the rug. But now I call it out, and I stand in knowing that it is bullshit that they're peddling. And if you're going to try to peddle your bullshit, you can peddle it somewhere else, because I am not buying bullshit anymore. And I just love the bullshit. Like, I just love the way he said bullshit. Like, it's bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. All right? And the team made him feel like there had been a few people that are no longer active in my life. There's a lot of people that are not active in my life. Source is starting to shine a little bit and the skies are clearing. I will probably have to take a walk today. Go get in nature for a little bit, okay? Because their dish to pass was a big bowl of bullshit. As he's laughing. And that's the fact. I know that. That resonated, all right? But beyond that, and more importantly, I know that if that's all they're bringing to the table, they no longer get invited to my table. And that's no skin off of my back, which is fact. All right, it's like the trash took itself out. Fact. And it's a wonderful thing when the trash takes itself out. Okay? I love just the way he expressed and used the words and the codes. It was amazing between the connection with him and my team and his teams, okay? So those are probably the two most significant lifetimes that I've had. Like I've mentioned, I didn't go into details for a lot of reason. All right? Maybe I will at some point, but it doesn't feel necessary right now. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Yep, there's this one is talking about this being assigned at the home office. If you know, you know. That more than likely I have been assigned in the home office of the divine. And again, not working in the cubicles, working closely with Source herself, okay? And that resonated because as well, more than likely him and I, because there was soul recognition, worked there as well together. So he did have soul recognition, as I had soul resonance for sure, okay? And very instrumental in helping her, because contrary to popular myth and belief, she does struggle with some of this stuff. All right, and being a very trusted, close, and trusted advisor. Okay, so that was very in resonance. Again, that has also come through many channels in many ways. So this is not like the first time I've heard this. This is just another confirmation that yes, that again, anyone can have this relationship. All right, so it's not like boasting of ego. It's just sharing part of my Akashics, part of my past lives, working closely with Source, and being an advisor, a close advisor, a close friend, a close confidant, okay? Saint Germain was mentioned also, which is connected to the violet flame, so maybe Saint Germain is significant, all right? And then there was some shared information. I'm not going to share that, all right? But it was in correlation. There was resonance and correlation for sure, okay? All right. All right, let's see here. So remember, anyone can have this relationship with Source. It's a choice. It's a choice. All right? It's a friendship. It's a relationship. It's not like this entity in the sky, because you are part of Source, okay? Just want to make that clear. All right? All right. Let's see here. So definitely the people that I'm in contact deeply with, we've shared more than likely lifetimes together, significant lives together, okay? All right, and by this time my body was just like sobbing with full-blown confirmation. I'm sweating right now. So at this time, clairsentient, usually my confirmation comes through crying, through tears, through shaking, through vibrating, all right? And so it's just like knowing, saying hello to the soul again that's sitting across from the table, that homecoming of like, where have you been? All right. All right. Definitely clear confirmation there. All right. Let's see here. So the other thing that came through, let's see here. I asked about my third eye. All right. Got some confirmation on that, because again, it's not one of my strongest abilities. Mine is clear knowing. I just know it, because I fucking know it and I don't need to prove it. And very clairsentient, clear feeling, along with clairaudience, okay? All right. Let's see here. Again, being sacred mirrors to each other during the session, significant, as we are to everyone, but typically as well for our soul family. All right, there was a lot of streams of energy flowing as well, a lot of co-creation, knowing, confirming that I have a huge support of protection, which has been confirmed many ways, shapes, or forms. I feel it, I know it, I command it, and I stand in it. And I mentioned that I command and stand in my power, and I mentioned this in other videos, and they confirmed that yes, there were times where I wasn't, because things were trying to suppress me and control me, create chaos and distortions, and keep the programming locked in. All right. All right. Just going to share a little bit about my childhood, and standing in my truth and my power rather than blindly swallowing it. So I blindly swallowed my truth and my power my entire life, up until more recently, like I said, in the past 18 months to 2 years. And I had moments where I wouldn't, but then I would come back to sweeping it under the rug. All right. So again, just knowing that if it's bullshit, we're not buying the bullshit. If you're bringing bullshit to the table, you're not invited to the table. All right. So I had a lot of big lessons in this lifetime for sure. All right. A lot of big lessons, a lot of teachings. All right. And what came through is from the side of the equation of these other people that are no longer in my life. I have no remaining obligations or karmic crap to work out later in other lifetimes. Basically karmic contracts, everything's cleaned up and cleared up. Okay. All right. And yeah, let's see here. Let's take a look. There was a lot in 30 minutes, which is amazing. And again, part of the lessons was me becoming familiar with the religious dogma, bullshit, distortions, but not getting indoctrinated or getting embedded in it. But understanding the bullshit, the programming, the religious dogma, and all of that, okay? And also Source, she came through also at this point around the religious thing and said that one of the things that she gets really pissed off about is that one of the things that really, really piss her off is that all of these people drumming things up and running around professing that they are speaking in her behalf. She goes, I have no idea who they are, and she has never granted them permission to do so. All right. And they just basically, what came from Source herself is that they need to sit down and shut the fuck up. All right. And if you know from the religious bullshit, these people that say all this stuff, sit down and shut the fuck up. Feel into it. All right. Listen to your discernment. Listen to your soul. All right. What else do we want to talk about here? I'm just trying to, again, there's a lot here. I'm just trying to look at, because we're not going into all of it. Okay, I wanted to talk about the excavation. All right, one of my main missions here, again, besides all the learnings and the teaching, is that I was here to excavate. The way it was described was I was here to clean up and to excavate and rebuild. But I had to excavate. So basically what it was is I was trying to build on a very toxic land. He actually used Dow Chemical as an idea. Like if Dow Chemical literally took all of their shit times 10 and put it on a land and it was completely desolate, and what came through was like a nuke bomb, and you had to excavate all of the toxins and all of that off of the land before you could grow, you can't grow in soil and land like that. And that's what I had been trying to grow in, and you can't grow or manifest like that. So a big part of what I've been doing is deep excavating of this land to get down to fertile soil, to compact it and get down to fertile soil so the seeds that have been planted can now germinate and sprout and grow. Okay. So that might resonate, that you feel like you've been doing a lot of excavation, which is of course internal excavation. What this is in resonance is you can't build on toxic ground, weak ground, because the way it was described in the session is that if you were to, you have to build on these new foundations that aren't going to be so weak and so toxic and that will crumble during the first rain or sink into the mud during the first rain. You have to do all of this deep work to get down to the knit and grit so you can get to this healthy, fertile land. So now that those seeds that you have tried to grow on the toxic land, you can get to them now they can safely and healthfully grow and germinate and sprout into the manifestations. Okay. All right. So I think we're going to leave that at that, and just know that you are doing a great job. This is just me sharing a little bit of my experience with an Akashic reading. If you're guided, I highly recommend going to get one, but be very mindful that the person, and again, always use your resonance, use your knowing, meditate on it if you feel to. If you know, if you just get the signs and synchronicities that maybe you should be guided, maybe there's information. I had no plans on this. I didn't plan ahead. It's just something that happened within like 10 or 15 minutes that my team was guiding me to get this done, to give me more information. And in that information, there's codes, there's signs, there's synchronicities, there's confirmations, there's resonance. All right. So yeah, that was that. And maybe you're being guided to, but again, always use your discernment anytime you're seeing any practitioner, whether it's a reader, a card reader, an intuitive reader, someone that's looking into your Akashics especially. It can be very, very helpful, very therapeutic, very healing. Like I said, getting the confirmations, the codes, the frequencies, the energies, but just always be mindful, she says. Just be mindful. And that's part of the lesson, is you should be at the point where you're so tapped the fuck in, you'll know if you know, and you know. You'll know the bullshit. If it's bullshit, you'll know if it's a legit reader or if they're peddling bullshit. And remember, you don't buy bullshit anymore. You don't allow people to serve bullshit at your table anymore, okay? And don't do it because you're seeking. Do it because you're called to, or you're getting signs, synchronicities, and codes, not because you're still trying to seek it out, all right? It's coming through resonance, right? It's coming through the resonance. And again, your soul coded yourself. Your highest is letting and leading you. Let your highest lead you and guide you. Let her guide you and lead you. Let source guide you and lead you. and give the bullshit away and allow that to be transmuted, okay? And the other thing with why I chose this lifetime to come down here is because my soul knew I could come down here and excavate all of this darkness, going deep, going dark, and clearing the land, so to speak, so we can rebuild on it. That's part of my soul's purpose and journey. For sure has been up to this point. This is not just me, it's for collective. You know, this is not just, it is personal, but for me, personal is always for the collective. Okay? So just keep that in mind, that the work you are doing is sacred work. If you're doing the healing, that's sacred work. If you're hermiting, that's sacred work. If you're going deep and dark, that's sacred work. All right? If you're coming out of that and you're starting to just stand in your truth, be more authentic, letting source lead and guide you, that's sacred work until further instructions. Everyone wants to know what your purpose is. That's your purpose. Your purpose is now present moment. And everything that is in that now present moment, that is your purpose. Okay? So just being in the now present moment, being here right now, not being distracted. What are you paying your attention to? Are you doom scrolling? What is it? Okay? So just be present. That's your purpose. And then you'll know what your next purpose is. But you don't get to know that now. The next higher version of yourself gets to know that then and when, right? We need to surrender to the what, the why, the where, the who, the when, the how, all of that, and stay present. And then when you stay present, you collapse time, and there's the patience thing just kind of flies out the window. It's like you just are so present that you don't have to be patient anymore because you're present. You're not hanging out in the past. You're not worried about what's going to happen in the future because you're present. Can we see where we're going here with being present? Make presence your purpose right now. And all the other things too. Authentic, truth, speaking, standing, playing, creating, all of that. All right. I am you, you are me, and we are we. And that is your message today. And hopefully it is received by those that it's meant to be received for. It is a longer video, so thanks for playing, co-creating, paying your attention, weaving, sharing your time and your energy, your frequency, your essence, your color, your quantum medicine, your quantum magic with me and with the collective. I am you, you are me, and we are we. And proud of you. Thank you. Love you. Bye.